Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Sports. I'm Sean. So yesterday marked the start of the NFL season, and I gotta say, Peyton Manning went off. Dude tied a single game record that's been standing for about 44 years. He tied it. He's there with a few other people, a few other quarterbacks. Seven TDs, count them, 7 TDs in one game. I was watching the game, and this game started off slow for him and Broncos offense. The Ravens were putting some good defense there in the first half. Broncos, their defense was struggling. I thought, man, this is going to be a tough one for the Broncos. Second half, and it just turned into Madden, I swear. Peyton just came out and just started tearing these dudes up, just started carving them up. He took over the game. He said, give me the ball, pretty much, and he turned into like the Michael Jordan of football, just pretty much, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it, and you guys are going to watch me do it, I'm going to tell you I'm going to do it, I'm still going to do it, and then you're going to be like, how do we stop him from doing it, even though he's telling us that he's doing it? All of that. It was a really good game. Manning just went off. He went off, and there were some stats they showed during the game of him, catching up to Brett Favre in yardage and touchdowns. And they showed that sometime in 2015, I guess in the end of next season, he could catch up and pass if he stays with career averages for yards and touchdowns. So he can catch up to and pass Brett Favre. But if he goes at this rate, he'll get him in 1 year, because at this rate he's going to average over 100 touchdown passes per game and over 400 yards per game. That's a lot of yards. So, in other NFL news, former NFL middle linebacker, all-pro player Brian Urlacher, he's on TV now, not in the league anymore. He was talking about his Bears days, and let's just say he doesn't have the best relationship with the Bears. He was talking about how when they play an up-tempo offense, like let's just say the Patriots or the Eagles, they would have designated fall guys. These designated fall guys would fake an injury whenever one of the coaches would signal this injury to them, and they would just lie down to slow down the offense. As you know, you don't get caused a timeout depending on what the situation is, and all you have to do is sit out a play. So, I mean, I'm sure that lots of teams do this in the NFL, and it's kind of funny that Brian Urlacher is now coming out with this kind of information, kind of throwing them under the bus, considering how they treated him on his way out, and it wasn't that good of a party. Now, let's just say that. So it's pretty funny to hear this news from Brian Urlacher. I got a chuckle out of it, and like I said, I'm pretty sure a lot more teams are doing this in the NFL. It's a pretty common thing you see happening during the last couple minutes of each half. More Johnny Manziel news this week, guys. It has been announced that he's actually going to be on the cover of Time magazine solo, by himself. This is the first time a collegiate athlete has been on the cover of Time solo since 1963 when Roger Staubach did it. On the cover, he'll be striking a Heisman pose, and the camera will be looking up from him. I'll put a picture inserted here. Also in the game against Rice, when he came in the third quarter, he had some celebration to some of his plays, mainly him doing the money sign, pretty much mocking the NCAA and everything that he was accused of. Don't know how to take this. I mean, dude's very talented, but he definitely shows his immaturity sometimes. And the last bit of news, the United States men's national team is going to be playing Costa Rica today. It starts at 7 p.m. It is in Costa Rica, in San Jose, and this is the first time they're going to meet since the snowstorm game back in March. This is a pretty big game for the U.S. team, because with the win, they could possibly cement their spot in the World Cup next year in Brazil. With the loss, Costa Rica can jump them and claim their own spot in the World Cup next year. So this is a really important game. U.S. is 0-7-2 all time in Costa Rica, 0-7-1 in any qualifying matches. There's a lot of bad blood ever since the snowstorm game and a few other events. Costa Rica thought the game should have been canceled. There's also the qualifier back in 2010 where the U.S. beat Costa Rica and edged them out for a spot in the World Cup back then. Costa Rica is responding. It's kind of like a prank war back and forth. They required the U.S. to go through the regular customs in the airport, so they had to stand in line with everybody else. They didn't get any special treatment, so that's one thing. They were also supposed to be provided with practice balls this week for them to practice, and they were not provided with anything until after their first practice was over. They were also allowed to use different fields but then all the fields, they didn't want to work with the U.S., so they had to go take it upon themselves to find a practice field to practice on. So I mean, this is some serious stuff. So, but at least the game is going to be held at the new stadium, the national stadium over there in Costa Rica. So it's not going to be in the old, beat up, really close encounters kind of stadium that a lot of people will probably be scared to play in because it's really crazy. So hopefully tonight the U.S. men's national team come out victorious and clinch their spot in the World Cup next year in Brazil. Pretty awesome. Hopefully, fingers crossed, guys. So that's it for This Week in Sports this week, guys. Remember to click the like, share, subscribe buttons down below. Leave your questions, comments, and inquiries down in the comment section. And let's get this conversation started off right this week. We'll see you next time.